Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to our first restreamed match of the night in the Highway to the Threemus Zone tournament. I'm here with our restreamer, Smapety, Tracker Isalba, and co-commentator Damashi. I'm Ellen Motas, and we got a good race tonight for you, don't we, Damashi?
Oh, absolutely. We got two wonderful racers here between Mecha and dustygriff. And looks like a spicy start with that Edward as well.
Oh yeah, we have permajoin, and unfortunately for our runners, you are absolutely forced to take the starting character, so there will be no ditching. Edward will be with us the entire match.
Hopefully we can get some fun Edward strats on some of these bosses. We can talk you through if they come up. And the objectives here look... Well, it looks like we have potential for a pretty quick one here, with really only 3 key items required for go mode.
Yeah, it's always nice to see a moon boss in the objectives because that increases the chance that we will actually see the moon in the seed. It's still possible, of course, to not need to go check any key items up there, but I do like the challenge that it gives runners to have to think about how they're going to prepare for the moon bosses.
Especially with that Edward, as we know, he doesn't scale very well into the late game, so gonna have to get a strong party comp around him to go onto that moon boss and fight that Murasame altar.
Yeah, so to wrap it up for the viewers here, we need the objectives are going to require the Legend Sword and Adamant for Objective 1. We need a Luku Key to do Objective 2. All we need is underground access for Dwarf Castle, and we need a Darkness Crystal in order to get to the moon, but odds are we're going to need a Darkness Crystal anyways. You need either the Darkness or the Pass in order to access Threemus, who is the final boss of the game.
I haven't seen a whole lot of passes in these table flags, have we? It's a lot of running down that lunar subterranean. Always like to see that.
For sure. And coming into this match, Mecha, this is the first match of the table flags for Mecha. Has been late scheduling kind of a lot of the matches. So it's coming in fresh. The sky's the limit for Mecha here. However, dustygriff is at 4-0, literally the best of the records in the table flags so far. So if I'm Mecha here, I'm a little intimidated. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, but Mecha is no slouch of a runner himself either. I mean, every runner at this table stage, the top 32 runners, they're all phenomenal racers in their own right. So it's anyone's match here tonight.
Yeah, and even though dustygriff's kind of spot in the top 16 is pretty well assured with this record by now, we are still looking for the top 4 who are going to actually decide the brackets.
And looks like we're getting ready to start the race here, and looks like a Yang up here. And looks like we also have a karate fight in the Baron Castle. And a hook starts, that underground access is already there. This could be a hook seed right off the go. There might not be a magma key in the overworld.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of seeds in table where we get both ways to get to the underground. I, for one, am hoping we do not find a magma key because it is always interesting to see what kind of strategies, especially a weaker early game party, can use to their advantage to get through an ugly hook route.
As a racer, you hate to see an ugly hook route, but as a viewer, you kind of want to see it. Let's be honest.
Yeah, so I'm hoping for none of the free bosses being available here at the beginning.
Looks like Mecha's going to hop right into Baron. Check the items, might check the in there, see what characters they're awaiting. Because with an Eddie start, you want to see what characters you can assemble as quick as possible.
Yeah, and table flags with permajoin on and the buy flag off, we are seeing a lot of our runners value character information more than anything else. You'll see both of these runners are going to be doing some light treasure looting, but then they're also going to be scoping out pretty much every character spot available here on the overworld before they start to take party members.
Now, if you're here running the seed, what character do you want to see the most right now?
I mean, obviously in this case, I really want to know if Tella is available. I might not pick him up now, but I want to know if he's here because it will basically change how I plan the whole rest of the seed, knowing that I have access to D machines.
The Atella has definitely become a high priority in these flags. The D-Machine grind is a great way to get an XP on your party or to slingshot a character. Because in free Enterprise, ooh, and there's a Atella right there for Mecha in the Waterfall Cave. If you have a character who is, I believe it's 5 levels underneath the party average, they will gain double XP. And so you can slingshot them to high levels very rapidly in a D-Machine.
Dustygriff also finds a Palom in Castle Damsian. This is shaping out to be exactly what our runners are looking for. Almost everyone here in the table flags has been favoring a mage-heavy party for reflex strats, and Palom is exactly the black mage you want. So Dustygriff now going to find a Atella as well, going to be very happy with what he's seeing.
Getting that Palom is great. I mean, Palom learns Quake at an early level. It lets you get through a lot of fights with multiple enemies a lot easier and quicker and safer, and of course learns that wonderful nuke spell later on, and it's just overall a powerhouse, especially in the late game.
Yeah, I mean, basically all our runners are looking for now is perhaps a physical attacker to get them through the early and mid game, a white mage, and another caster who can learn nuke, and we're going to be pretty much set. Now, the only thing is, if you take that physical attacker, you are going to be losing a spot for one of your mages, so you have to make the decision if you're going to commit to a full mage party or not, or leave some character spots empty, which we've also been seeing a lot of.
Sometimes it's nice just to have that high HP safety net, and like a Sid or a Kane gets fairly good, or a Yang, which we did see there is one available in the seed, to kind of act as a chemist later on and be there just in case things go south.
We do see another twin in the bed in case we find a sand ruby. Either twin would be useful at this point.
Yeah, having a white mage is great. It's not 100% necessary, but Tella isn't the best white mage. His spell power is fairly lacking, and his HP growth is, well, abysmal.
We get some more diversion here. Mecha is going to be going into Cave Eblin. We'll be checking the shops in here, which can be pretty good, and also the character that's deep in the cave, along with peeking the hook route boss. So he's going to know basically how many levels he wants to get before he comes back down here.
Yeah, information is very important in these flag sets. You want to have a good mind to know what decisions you should be making. And the more information you have, the better you can make your decisions.
We can see Dustygriff of the same mind here, making this same check. Skipping the shops for now, just wants to go get the character. And actually is going to be checking the pot in the infirmary, so we can see is now focusing a little bit on treasure.
You get at least a little bit of power for this early game. This is not a very good early game team. Tella doesn't really come online until after ordeals. None of the mages are very powerful early. And of course, there's Eddie.
Yeah, unfortunately for Edward, we do not have the spoon flag on in the table flag, so the most he'll be able to do for us is in the early game, maybe some dancing daggers, but otherwise, he can be a decent archer for the mid game as well, but his HP growth is just terrible.
Now, Kane is an interesting one. If you find some equipment for Kane early, he can very easily carry you through the early game. And he scales pretty well into the late game, so I wouldn't be surprised if either runner.
Yeah, and we do see the Dark Imps. That's very nice for our runners to know, meaning the hook route, at least that boss of it, is not going to be that difficult to get through. They still don't know what the first boss is, though, which can sometimes be the more tricky one.
Looks like Dusty doesn't want to have Kane. Neither runner wants Kane their party at this time. They can always go back and pick him up in Mysidia. So it's not far-fetched to think that they might go and pick him up. They just want to check all their options before they decide on a full party. Because with this permanent join on, you really have to be careful. Looks like Mecha's going to go right into the tower and try to get underground early.
Wow, this is super bold. Unless, I think he might just want to know what that first boss is. He's skipping the treasure chest. It doesn't really have any like resources in his party to speak of. I don't think these bosses are possible. So I think he just wants the knowledge. And this is the first time I've seen this from a runner in table stage, but I gotta say I like it because then you have all the information you need, what you're gonna need to do in the overworld.
Now this can be a risky play. If there is a magma key in the overworld, then this is lost time, but this could also be a very good play. Just like I said before, knowledge is key. And if that's an evil wall, then that Edward can actually just solo that fight. So
dustygriff is showing us the shop. I did see an elven bow in the store there. That could be a nice pickup. We see the guards there on Mecha's screen. That's good to know. So we basically have two kind of free-ish bosses on this hook route.
well, unfortunately, chat, we're not going to get the mean hook route, which we thought we might have. But fortunately for the runners, we're not going to have the mean hook route we thought.
I want to see some irony in the form of a magma key up here now that we know those bosses are too easy.
Oh, that would be. You think you're saved from a mean hook route, but you were saved from free bosses. Ordeals, of course, not free though. I'm thinking Mecha's probably checking the character. He might leave.
Oh, it's Dark Knight Cecil. I mean, we're gonna do ordeals anyways because of Tella, but we have vanilla agility on. So if you take Cecil in your party, you're gonna have to be relying on him to be your agility anchor.
Mecha, are you in... I'm sorry, Motas, are you in Team Never Cecil, or are you in Team Always Cecil?
You know, here on Table Flags, I'm thinking I ditch him. Even if I have an X-Cal, I might ditch him a lot of the time because we don't have Bacchus wines, and Berserk strats are just really not the way to go in Table Flags if you actually have mages at your disposal. So from my perspective, Cecil is going to be a liability in like 9/10 of the seeds that we have.
And you're already dragging around Edward and Tella, who mostly becomes a liability in the end. It is kind of difficult to take that Cecil, I think, as well.
Yeah, because crystal swords are going to be very hard to come by on this flag set, and Excaliburs are pretty much, if you were to find one, it's going to be at one of the deep treasure spots, a trap chest, a pink-tail turn-in, or from completing Objective 1. It's like they're not just going to be hanging around in like the waterway or something.
We found our life potions. That's always important to find your potions in the shops. Especially if the D-Machine grind is on the table, which with the Tella and almost assuredly a Dark Crystal required, there's a good chance we'll see a D-Machine grind tonight.
Yeah, I mean, words can't describe actually how much of a train wreck it could be if you actually forget that you don't have any life potions. It slows down your grind immensely, and it can put you in some really sticky situations.
D-Machine grinds are not free. It's a lot of these runners, they make it look very easy, but they are one small mess up, Tella misses a week, turn order gets messed up, you're in trouble.
Meanwhile, we're seeing some separate checks here. Mecha looks to be about to check Fabul, and dustygriff is about to show us Antlion Cave.
I think I missed it. Who else did Mecha pick up in his party? Did he pick up a cane at all? I don't believe so. We got the dolls in the Antlion Cave, but the Lit Bolt should mostly take care of this fight immediately.
Meanwhile, we see a Lunar Sparkle here in Fabul. That's a D-Lunars. That's actually kind of not great if you activate their virus script. You really don't want to do that. It's going to be healing items are the ticket here in order to get rid of these guys.
Meanwhile, dustygriff takes care of those dolls pretty quickly. One Lit Bolt and then one attack, and is rewarded with a Rat Tail, which, with the hook start, that's not a bad find early. That's another key item check. That can come in big.
Yeah, I don't hate it. You know, it's a key item plus a chance for another key item. So I definitely like it.
D-Lunars definitely not the most enjoyable boss. If you do hit them, as you mentioned with that with the wall script there. If you hit them with the fight command, they will cast wall and begin casting virus on themselves, and it gets very nasty very quickly.
Oof, there comes the breath, and Mecha resets.
It's definitely a difficult fight here. Fabul is an early check, but it still can have some nasty bosses. That is one.
Dustygriff sees a package from that rat tail. You know, we were talking about how much our players want character info, but I don't know if you can waste the time with the package, cutscene, and boss when you're up against such great players. That could be the difference between you winning and losing. And Dustygriff's really only looking for a white mage or a black mage to fill out the party at this point, because he did take Kane. There's only one slot left, and we're definitely going to want to fill it with another mage.
With the objectives on hand, defeating the dwarf castle, that gives you a character check, and going to the moon gives you a character check as well. Do you think it's important to get that 5th character slot, or do you think maybe Dustygriff and Mecha might wait, go to one of these objectives, and check the character there?
We do see a lot of runners waiting, even with only 3 characters in their party, and then only fill the rest when they're ready to grind. But in the case where you know hooks are required, and Dusty doesn't yet know that both of those bosses are pretty much free, I think if you see what you like, you should take it and start getting levels. The reason to hold back would be if you think you're not going to want to grind enough to get Nuke all in one grind battle, and you want to be able to slingshot at least one of your mages to make you fight the less steam machines, basically.
This D-Lunar fight is definitely a rough one, and Dustygriff's about to get the bad news that here are D-Lunars in Fabul.
Yeah, Mecha got breathed again, and that's another reset. So we'll have to see if Dustygriff is helped by having that extra player in the party, extra character.
Looks like Dustygriff did pick up a couple Cure 3 potions, so that'll actually make this fight rather trivial.
Yeah, it just goes to show, like, just getting the right shop check, and just look at that, right through it. 2 turns, done.
It's almost as if he expected there to be D-Lunars sometime in the near future. Picked up just 3, so he has enough for each, 1 D-Lunar each, and then 1 for his party if need be. And it's rewarded with the Earth Crystal.
Ooh, this is spicy. We were talking about Dustygriff's looting here. Has done a little bit more looting than Mecha, and I gotta expect we'll be checking this Troya Armory as well, or Treasury, whichever you like to call it. We are looking for some good gear for Kane, would be very helpful at this point. And some armor for the mages would also be helpful. A staff or a rod wouldn't hurt as well.
Well, one nice thing about Palom is he can get by with less gear than other characters, but it still severely helps you out, especially early when he's lacking in power, to have some extra wisdom to make his spells just that much stronger, and durability as he is very low on HP.
Yeah, Palom definitely would like a glass helm or some other heavily defensive item here at the beginning of the game.
Ooh, and Mecha takes another wipe to those D-Lunars. It is definitely a tough boss to see at many spots, and Fabul is not an exception.
Looks like Dusty
favorite minigame here.
Yeah, goes down the other staircases first, is teasing us, but we'll be heading there here shortly.
Ogre Axe, that's a nice pickup for that Kane.
Alright, chat, it's time to rate that treasury. We're going to be calling out the items that get picked up here, and you tell us what you think of it. So here we go. Gungnir Spear, Dragon, Crystal, Cursed Ring, another Cursed Ring, Ogre Axe, Ninja Sword.
Wow. That's quite the treasury right there. Especially if you find an edge, you already have a Ninja Sword. I don't know, what would you give that on a rating?
I mean, the curse string alone was worth the time. We would have liked to see a better spear than Gungnir, but it is still kind of a mid-gain spear for Kane, which is going to help him contribute here on the way to the underground.
Second Ogre Axe as well, and you have an extra curse string for selling just for that extra little bit of cash. I'm going to give that a 7, I think.
I think that's pretty solid.
Looks like the chat's in agreement. 7, 8, 9. Overall, definitely a good treasury. Yeah,
has to exit out of Troya fighting the NPC boss there. I think everyone's been blocked by that NPC at one time or another.
That and Luca down in the Dwarf Castle. She really likes to get in your way there. Looks like we got frog strats going on here over on the D-Lunars.
Yeah, it looks like Mecha's going to get through it this time, has managed to make the D-Lunar breath itself. So even though it's immune to frog, it can still hit itself with it.
It's one of the many, shall we call them, features of Final Fantasy IV.
Yes, all of the Super Nintendo Final Fantasies have their own uniqueness, we'll say, but Final Fantasy IV has the most uniqueness.
I think one of those uniquenesses is the way that the ATB system works with agility. Maybe we should explain just a little bit. I don't want to get into the full relative agilities of it, but what vanilla agility means here on this flag set.
Well, so basically, when they made this game, they didn't really have a way to keep track of time for every actor in battle. So they base it all, if you have Cecil in your party, they base it all on Cecil's agility. So if you have faster agility than Cecil, your turns come faster than his. And that's the same for the enemy as well. So that's the reason why we're concerned and why we're not taking Cecil. Because right now, the agility of the parties is being determined by the character in the middle slot. And we would like to see Tella there eventually, because he has quite low agility, which lets your party get more turns relative to the enemy.
Mecha here also looting the treasury and getting the good news of a cursed ring, amongst other gear. Ooh, an Evil Wall. Now, Evil Wall has a unique mechanic as well. I mentioned it briefly before, that Edward can actually win this fight all on his own. And, well, it's simply by hiding.
Yeah, the targeting system in this game kind of just retargets when it can't find a target. So if the rest of your party is on the floor and Edward hides, Evil Wall actually punches itself.
I think he's the only boss that does that, if I'm not mistaken. It looks like Mecha found Ethers, getting Ethers ready for the eventual D-Machine grind. You don't want to go in, there's 2 items you need, life potions and Ethers. Because Tella's MP pool, not the greatest.
Yeah, you can make it through without Ethers, but it's quite slow because not only you have to psych your own party members to steal their MP, and the charge time on the psych spell is painfully slow.
And it's rude to steal MP from your party.
We see Edward is petrified on dustygriff's side, getting healed by Tella. Palom has been bluffing this whole time, and the attempt to get out some beefy spells before the crush phase starts.
You know, once Evil Wall gets close enough, it stops attacking you and starts doing crush, which is an instant kill ability. And it can really make the fight go sideways very rapidly. So you want to make sure you defeat it before it gets to that crush phase. Else you might have a bad time.
When despite Mecha having that trouble with the D-Lunars at Fabul, we can see is still only one boss fight behind dustygriff here on Mount Ordeals.
And with that rat tail giving the package, it's not really much of a loss, unless the package leads to possibly the only white mage. But with this party setup, do you think we might be seeing Tello on healer duty instead of on floor duty?
Evil Wall falling into the deep ravine. Dusty about to show us what key item is here on Mount Ordeals and the third boss.
Mecha's side, Odin is of course weak to lightning, which is why those Thor rages are coming in handy right now. Ooh, the Earth Hammer.
Wah, wah.
Earth Hammer and Ogre Axe, where are the Sids at? I think I like seeing CPU at this spot. It's a very low HP spot, and CPU is not a difficult fight, but a very tedious fight. And usually you have to eat through a lot of health. So having it in Mount Ordeals in the final spot, it's nice to get it out of the way.
Yeah, especially since we're very mage heavy and it does reflect itself, so our main sources of damage weren't going to be able to do much if we found this at a different spot.
Oh, with a couple dancing daggers and a jump, it's no problem at all. And now the true reward of doing ordeals, Tella has his spells.
Now we see Mecha getting through this evil wall, and it is missing a black mage, which dustygriff has, so is having to rely on Kane's jump to do most of the work here.
Alternatively, if it does go sideways, he can always hide that Edward. Just let Evil Wall defeat itself, so even with the lacking of the damage without having the Black Mage, Mecha should be fine getting through.
The problem is going to be if it gets to the crush phase. Mecha does have life potions, but you got to stay ahead of the evil wall's crushes.
And with only 3 party members, that can definitely be difficult to do. I think dustygriff was thinking about chasing that Earth Crystal and decided to go check out Baron Inn instead. Earth Crystal is a very long check, so definitely don't fault him.
Yeah, the only thing is we still haven't found a white mage, and Earth Crystal does yield 2 characters, so that might be very tempting to Dusty at this point.
That is true. Not having a white mage does make some things a lot more. Mecha getting through that evil wall fight.
Yeah, just barely. It had just crushed everybody else, and Kane's last jump killed it.
But the best part about ordeals, that third boss, you get a full refill, so you do not need to use resources beforehand.
Here comes a curse ring on Edward. He's going to be sitting in that middle spot for a lot of the rest of the match. We will see Tella moved there when it comes time to level grind because of the accuracy bonus. As was mentioned before, we do not want to miss a weak spell. That would be really, really bad.
Very easy, even for the most experienced runners, to have a D-Machine grind that just does not go their way. A little bit of RNG goes against you, and it's hate to see it.
The ult gauntlet in the Baron Inn. Here we go. And it's the first slot, too. The spot that only has 400 HP and would usually take you no time at all.
Now, what boss do we see behind this that really makes this just cruel?
Wyvern.
Then you have to set it to Wyvern Standard Time, that battle speed 6. Although with that cursed ring on the Edward, dustygriff might be able to get through it without having the battle speed down.
But Dusty moved Edward out of the middle spot, so actually Palom is his anchor right now.
Oh no.
Come on, chat, say it with me. Either get your Golbez emotes going or start chanting Wyvern, 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 Wyvern.
Now, if you see a Golbez here, or a Wyvern, I believe neither of them, correct me if I'm wrong, prevent you from having underground access. So, can Magma Key be behind them since you already have a hook?
Oh, that's 100% true. We already have the hook, and we know that the bosses aren't the forbidden bosses at the hook. So, yeah, Magma Key could be here, but it could also be guarded by the ugliest of the ugly.
Now in these seeds, it's the alt gauntlet because it's not the normal Fabul gauntlet, it's the normal enemies. It is changed depending on where you have the encounter at. So if you get this gauntlet on the moon, it can be very nasty. Not only is it just a long fight to fight through, I believe it's 6 waves of enemies, but they hit hard and have a lot of health. So on one hand, it's nice to get it out of the way early. On the other hand, this is not where you want to see it.
Mecha buys some illusions from Cave Eblin, and looks like some Cure 3s as well, which he would have sorely liked to have for Fabul. And I think Mecha's actually going for it here. It's heading down.
There's Dark Imps and the Baron Guard, so does he have a mute bell? I don't think I saw that, but he can always mute with Tella, and that's a good chance of getting through this fight and having underground pretty early.
Yeah, Tella's got the full power, so there's plenty of spells he can throw and just hope they stick. Like, we get Stone, and we get slows and stops, so should be able to get through here. But this is, after those wipes, we can see that Mecha is feeling lots of pressure, and he's going down before he's checked all of his overworld checks. This is a gamble. This is where he's hoping can make or break the match just by doing this instead and just fading all the rest of the overworld checks.
We have the luxury of knowing that baiting Antlion Cave in this case is fine. You're getting the package from it after the Rat Tail, so it's not a big loss, especially if you don't need the package character. So this could be a very good play, and this could put Mecha possibly in the lead.
Of course, we're assuming no D-Mist behind the package as well. We do see Cindy, Sandy, and Mindy here in the Baron Inn, the Magus Sisters. It's not too crazy. We don't have a lot of multi-target damage here, though, so this fight's going to take a little longer than usual.
I'm not sure what the magic power is on the spot. I'm not sure if Mindy's going to be hitting hard or not. Well, Mindy won't be hitting hard now.
Yeah, Elven Bows were for sale, and that deals racial damage to mages, so this is going to be over before you know it.
Edward putting in a little bit more work before he becomes the anchor.
Here comes the officers and soldiers. Good opportunity to life glitch if you're feeling confident, but just going to stone the whole party, so that's not going to happen.
I saw that incorrectly. I was thinking that was the Baron Guard, so that's an even better fight to see there. Baron Guards can hit pretty hard. And one stone gets through that fight quite easily, and I'm assuming Mecha's going to attempt to stone the Dark Imps as well. Do not have the boss bit, and I think they are able to be stoned. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, that's definitely what Mecha's gonna do.
And to be underground sub 40 minutes in a hook seed, You gotta feel pretty good about that.
Well, Dusty did not clear those Magus Sisters and is now going to the Tower of Zot instead.
Looks like Dusty might want to check for some more characters and get a little more power in his party. This team is not exceptional in the early game, so it's not a big surprise.
Mecha gonna have to turn the battle speed down as well. Those Dark Imps were just punching too quickly.
Might see a Cursed Ring go on that Edward as well. Oh, he had the Cursed Ring on the Kane. Okay.
Yeah, I think he was trying to speed Tella up.
Ah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, Chad is pointing out, like, both of these runners are in full panic mode now. They've both wiped several times to a variety of bosses. They're both making risky decisions now. Like, they know what's on the line. They don't. It's chaos. It's pure chaos in their brains right now.
This is what you love to see when you see a free Enterprise race, though. And we have a pretty free boss over in Tower of Zot here with the Water Hag.
This is very
good fight.
This is very dangerous, though, because we keep seeing these free bosses, and that means when we get to the actually hard boss spots, there's nothing left to be nice.
There's a lot of cool bosses still out there. Wyvern's still out in the wild. I mean, that's the big one right there. We still got Golbez out in the wild, who everyone loves Golbez. Bomb. There's a lot of mean bosses out there still.
Yeah, the shame here would be if the Magma Key or the Luca Key is behind that Magus Sisters in the Baron Inn, and that alt gauntlet in the way kind of disincentivizes our players from going for it.
Yeah, the alt gauntlet is just such a time sink that if you see that a lot of times, you think, well, maybe it's just not worth it. I can fade to check, go do something faster, come back if necessary. So if that is indeed a required item, we might have a bit of a hunt in their hands.
Meanwhile, Mecha gets through, and we find another Rydia. So Dusty won't be able to get Rydia from the Baron Inn right now, but could take her from here. That's the other nuke caster we were looking for. There's a copy of Cecil as well, who will be not joining the party today, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't even know if you take him, if you find a crystal sword. I probably would, but you probably shouldn't take Grace advice from me.
We get that one Soma drop on Tella. Nice. That allows one more casting of weak.
Puts his MP exactly at 100. Weak takes 25 MP to cast, so you 4 casts before being out of MP totally. It makes the D Machine grind just that much smooth.
Joy of joys, we get the Dark Elf here for dustygriff. That's another pretty easy boss. The second form doesn't have the boss bits, so it can be weaked. And Mecha shows us a peek. D-Mist is at the top of Lower Babel.
Wow. The hook is giving us everything. But I like your point you brought up. We're seeing a lot of pretty easy bosses in pretty easy spots, so this becomes the moon is holding all the answers. This could get pretty dangerous pretty quickly.
Yeah, Mecha's wasting no time here checking the freebie chest in the Fame Arch, and I can almost guarantee we'll be peeking what these bosses are too. Mecha has shown during this match that he wants the info. He wants to know what he needs to do in order to get ready. So knowing what these bosses are is going to determine when Mecha grinds.
Since we've already seen a lot of free bosses, I'm not entirely certain there's a lot here that can be done with the current party comp without a lot of difficulty. The pink tail from the Fame Arch chest. I don't think we'll be seeing that get turned in unless Mecha goes back and gets the rat tail. But if dustygriff gets that pink tail, I don't think he's going to make a trip to turn that.
Yeah, there are some good items that can be got with that pink tail. Things like white shirts that Mecha would want, but we can see he's really pressed for time here, so I agree. I don't think he's going to use the time to turn in, because I think he thinks he needs to make up every second at this point.
Ooh. We have Kainazu in the queen spot. And that's Bahamut, I believe, in the king spot, correct?
I saw a purple robe.
Oh, right. I always get them mixed up. Leviathan is the bearded one. Which one's the purple robe?
Well, it will be Mylon, but we don't know if it's Mylon and Friends or Mylon Z. And unfortunately, that's a pertinent information. Ooh, Mecha getting one of the trap chests. Forgot there's 7 trap chests in the Sylph Cave, so you really can't go freely checking chests in there. Kanazo is going to be rough. They're going to have to grind all the way to Z levels if they want to get that Kanazo done with.
And dustygriff gets a legend sword from Tower of Zod. That could be big. If Dusty's able to find an adamant, then that skips one of the required objectives.
Yeah, this is still potential for Dusty to be able to skip moon bosses, because if he can get objective 1, that means he doesn't need to do objective 4.
And if we find a pass, then Darkness Crystal might not be required, and we might actually not get a D Machine grind. There could be alternative grinds if they get the objective items without having a Darkness Crystal. So it's definitely a potential.
Mecha hitting some shops here in the underground. They are of higher quality than the overworld shops. Going up to the Tomer Treasury, checking a little bit here. Let's see if we get Job Dwarf. Yes, electronic something. Way too fast on the text box.
Yeah, I couldn't quite catch it. I caught the electronic, but Mecha a little too swift for our eyes. Maybe chat was able to catch that.
Meanwhile, dustygriff is heading down as well. We'll have to see how. I believe he'll be getting through these battles a little bit easier than Mecha, just due to a little bit extra characters and extra levels.
Mecha going to complete the first objective, the runners, to defeat the boss of Dwarf Castle and possibly get that fourth character. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see Mecha still with only 3. The only thing I can think is he may be wanting to slingshot 2 mages instead of just 1.
We also did see a Yang, so it's very possible to want to slingshot the Punch Mage himself.
Oh yeah, even if we're kind of had disincentivized Berserk strats on Threemus in these flags, but level 60 Yang is pretty compelling either way.
And the best part about Yang is you don't need to go hunting for gear, just levels, and he's good to go.
Here goes Mecha to check Sheila 1.
I like this play. Check your freebies. And it's vanilla.
Oof. Double dipping.
Now does Mecha trek down and turn that in and then trek back up?
Ooh, this party's still not great. So, we usually say check your freebies, check your objectives. Dwarf Castle is a tall order right now for Mecha.
Especially because it's 2 fights in one. So even if you get through that first fight, you could waste a lot of time on it and then have that second fight be something you can't do in the current setup. Just waste a lot of time. So it's not surprising to see him fade that for a little bit until the party's sorted a little bit more. Dustygriff getting through the guards pretty easily and doesn't save between. Very confident he can just get through the Dark Imps.
Ooh, there comes the size. Stylish.
Really cutting them down to size there. That is a long cast time on that spell though, but able to get it off.
Ooh, that was lucky that Tala didn't get punched.
The board face AI being kind. than the tower gave from Waking Yang.
Yeah, so now that does put a question in my mind. Does Mecha go to check Sheila too, or does he try to get the tower out of the way? He knows it's Threemus at the top, and the Cannon Room boss is in general trivial, so I can expect that after the Sheila turn in, Mecha's going to go straight to the tower.
Definitely, because even the top spot can be pretty tough, but Threemus is, you get some blinks up, and it's not too bad. It can be a long fight, but as long as you are playing the script correctly, so you're not attacking during the mist phase, it's not too dangerous.
Yeah, and with Threemus at the top, that's actually 3 key items in one place. Whoa, it's a darkness crystal from Sheila.
Well, now this begs the question, is Mecha fill out the party and grind?
I mean, you've got Tella. You're very far away from 10 key items still. If it's me, I'm grinding here. That's it. Fill out the party, get the levels, blast through everything else. There's no need, because even if you got lucky and got 3 key items from the 3 checks at tower, it's just not, it still doesn't get you to 10. So if I can't get 10 right away, I want to just get grinding and blast through the rest of the seed.
That double XP you gain from 10 key items is always something you kind of want to get, but I agree with you. When you're this far away from it and you have your grind option available, you already know where ethers are, you already know where life potions are, you have your Tella, get your party and go. Get yourself Z ready, and then knock out the rest of these objectives. No big deal.
Yeah, here comes the raising of the Lunar Whale, and Mecha will be heading to the Tower of Wishes to get extra party members as well.
And we still haven't seen a White Mage. I only briefly saw it was a twin on Hobbs. It was a Palom or Porum.
You know, I didn't see which one it was, and there's one in the bed too, and I also can never tell which one it is in the bed.
All I can tell is the orange cape is Palom. I can never tell them apart.
Now, the good thing here is if we don't end up taking a White Mage at all, Kane will do very good work. We do know Cure 3s are available, and his high HP makes him a pretty safe chemist.
So I wonder if our runners will be leveling Tella in the grind and keeping Eddie face down? Keep them both face down, or keep just Tella face down? You can see any of these strategies going on. Having Tella leveled, if you have another anchor, can give you a little bit of extra security, a little bit more healing power, and a little bit of HP so he doesn't die from pretty much any boss looking at him. So it'll be interesting to see what our runners decide to do here.
Yeah, if you nerf the few big bangs that you see with Reflect Threats, then Tella can actually survive them if you've leveled him. So we will have to see which way Mecha goes with it. Picking up some extra life potions and Cure 2s here just to make sure all ready to go.
If you happen to find a life staff and a white shirt, Tella's Cure 4s are actually pretty good.
And here we go, dustygriff taking an entirely different track and is about to check the Dwarf Castle, trying to get Objective 3 done and maybe get another character check out of the way here.
Setting up for the D Machine grind. And there's the Baron Guards.
Every free boss we see here means ugly bosses on the moon, and I am loving it.
That Hirosame altar might be spicy. Mecha will most likely heal on the big whale before going to the grind. So those 1 HPs will be remedied.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been watching these matches, you probably already know, but for those of our viewers who have not seen this, Mecha's not just fighting random battles for fun here. This is actually an RNG manipulation. We have a table, that Mecha's looking at and counting his steps between encounters. So he knows how many battles to fight here already, and he'll be fighting the battles he needs here, turning encounters off, and then going to the Giant of Babel to do the D-Machine grind fight. If you reset afterwards, then you have to redo the RNG seed. This is basically a way for you to get the D-Machine fight, even though we have can't run on, because if you did it the normal way, the random encounters in the Giant of Babel would just kill you.
We have a Lunar Sparkle and another Edward in the Dwarf Castle. I love to see it.
Bravely brave Sir Edward went back to Mysidia.
It's only a plague here. This should be a pretty trivial fight, which means that there's still a lot of nasty lunar bosses out in the wild.
Yeah, Plague is like pretty much the easiest or the second easiest lunar boss, and can be cheesed in a variety of ways. So once again, we are running out of the easy stuff. Cane deals extra damage to Plague, by the way. Spears and jump deal extra damage to flying enemies.
Which also means he deals bonus damage to Mylon Z for very weird reasons.
Here we go. Dustygriff kind of needs the key item here in Dwarf Castle to pay off.
Dustygriff does finish an objective by doing it, so he is one objective down out of 3 required.
Yeah, the only thing is, though, Mecha's going to come here after grinding and just completely destroy these boss fights.
Oh, absolutely. That Plague will just get destroyed. His Baron guards won't know what hit him. Oh, I know. And a gold apple is the reward. At least that's a reasonable thing for Luca to have hanging around her neck.
Yeah, it may be reasonable, but it's not what Dusty was looking for at all. So Dwarf Castle is pretty much 100% a bust.
Now going down to check Fame March. Gonna find that pink tail again. I can't see him turning that in.
Yeah, especially since he's already he's got the rat tail and he's already turned it in. So like that's it. Mecha, meanwhile, getting the correct grind fight, although it's a back attack, unfortunately, and didn't actually heal the party on the whale before coming in here. So Edward was sleeping. That's as to be expected, but these deal HP-based damage, so you just heal your party up after each action and make sure you're not summoning a D-Machine when your HP levels are too low.
Now, I did see Mecha casting Cure 3s with Tella in the party menu. So maybe leaving Eddie that low was on purpose. So I think that might have answered the question of, I think Edward's just going to be his anchor, and I'm expecting Tella to gain some levels here.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Edward came into this battle dead. He was dead during the Baron manipulation battles for this. So Edward wearing a curse ring is definitely going to be the anchor for Mecha for the rest of the game. We won't see Tella in the middle spot unless he's needed to be there for accuracy purposes.
Like all good bards, Edward is just sticking back and writing songs about the party. Looks like Dusty's going down to check on Yang down here and possibly check Sheila 1 and get the news that it's vanilla.
Yeah, the question for me is, Dusty's party power is quite a bit better than Mecha's was at this point. So I wonder if when Dusty gets that tower key, if he would like to chase it.
That's a good question. It is a higher density of items. You get 2 key item checks in that tower compared to the one of going back up to Sheila. And you're already in the area, so it's very real possibility that Dusty holds off on Sheila 2 and instead does that tower and gets those two checks done.
The only good thing is if the tower pays off in any sort of way with an item we need, then it's still good for Dusty because he'll end up getting that D-Mist at the top, which will send him back up here. And there's no way he skips Sheila 2 at that point if he's already on the overworld. And actually, looks like he's going up to get Sheila 1 right now.
Yeah, it's a good point. I forgot about that D-mist at the top of the tower, which really makes tower a very good play if you go up there, because it's 3 checks from one area.
Meanwhile, Mecha's doing quite well here with the D-Machine grind. You see the immediate attack from Edward to get it done with, the heal up, then the re-attack on the Searcher. It's good. Life glitching, all according to plan, with Kane throwing some items on whoever needs it.
Yeah, it's just a very clinical D-Machine grind. We'll be out there in no time. Looks like Dusty is going down to wake Yang up right now and get the news that it's a tower key.
And it's not like Dusty doing Dwarf Castle, it, puts him irrevocably behind. Tower still has 3 key item checks at it, and we actually only need 2 more key items in order to get go mode through any of our means. So if Dusty finds an Adamant Rock or a Luca key, then that's it. It's over. Dusty can grind and go straight to Zeromus.
It's a very real possibility that Tower could actually hold both of those. Between the D-Mist, the 2 checks in it, it's unlikely, but it's very possible that Dusty could go to Tower and be in go mode.
We got a question from Beowulf in the chat. Tower has a key item. Was D-Mist at Luge? Yes, we do. We got a peek on the way down. D-Mist is at Luge, so Tower has 3 key item checks for us today.
And it looks like that is what Dusty's going to do. He's going to climb the tower, and we're going to see what it holds.
Oof. And we know that Sheila 2's got the Darkness Crystal, so this could either be amazing if it pays off for Dusty, or completely heartbreaking if it doesn't give him something he needs.
Yeah, this could turn into a chase, could give something like the Baron key, and it could lead on a merry little chase into the hunt for key items.
Yeah, because right now, when Mecha gets done with this grind, he's basically going to come down here to check tower anyways, except he's going to do it at lightning speed, whereas Dustygriff is not leveled. So he's going to have to beat this boss at the top, the D-Mist, the old-fashioned slow way.
Yeah, it will definitely be a slog to get through the boss. Shouldn't be a problem to get through it, just definitely a tough thing.
We had a little bit here go wrong in Mecha's fight. It looks like one of the twins is taking a nap.
Question from chat. The Darkness Crystal was from Sheila 2. So we are expecting, after D-Mist, to go back to the overworld and most likely check Sheila 2 and get the news that Darkness Crystal is very much on the table.
We got a question from Solaris in chat. There's been some discussion about the Zeromus fights and how you can do it with just 2 mages with Nuke. And Zeromus Shake does remove status effects, but Bluff isn't technically a status effect. It just straight up raises the stat. The game doesn't have a way to remove it. It doesn't know that it's even there. It just raises the stat for the rest of the battle.
Bluff is a very strong skill, and I believe it was removed from the English version, was it not?
Yeah, that's one of those J abilities only. Every character has an extra ability that kind of doesn't happen in the original English version. In the case of Palamit's Bluff, which raises his magic stat, and it's kind of handy because the Zeromus fight doesn't actually start until you throw the crystals, so you basically have unlimited time to bluff as much as you want. Now, of course, that takes time.
Still getting through this D-Machine grind. Looks to have it fairly under control here. Being that the kids are base level, but I think they should still be in slingshot range. I wasn't able to see the party levels.
Oh yeah, they're 100% going to get slingshotted. Like, with the amount of D machines that have happened, we're going to be looking at high 50s for the twins, which is crazy.
That's what you like to see, the big nukes coming out.
Yeah, because the way the game's programmed, there's a limit to the HP cap, which Threemus gets around with a refill. But when you're bouncing spells, he never refills because it's scripted as a counter. So you'd actually be surprised how little turns it takes to kill him if you're dealing quad 9s with anything. Which I think is part of the reason why they gave Threemus a custom counterattack to go against summons, to kind of stop you from just Bahammoning him into oblivion.
There's quite a few bosses in the game that do have scripts that counter specifically summons. Some of them can be abused, such as on Wyvern, and it's definitely something to keep in mind. I think it's generally the lunar bosses. Most of them will have that custom counterattack to summon, so it's like the developers were like, hey, we gave you these powerful summons, but they didn't want them just taking over the game, so they decided to put a few counters into it to keep the game interesting.
Which seems pretty unfair, since for most of those endgame summons, you had to do side quests to even get them. It just seems like they're giving them to you and they take them away.
It's okay, because there's always value in Cave Bahamut.
Dustygriff through that Threemus fight. Didn't take as long. Ooh, it's a Sand Ruby. That's not the payoff he was looking for, although getting closer and closer to 10 key items, which will cut his grind in half versus Mecha's grind.
If Dustygriff gets that Darkness Crystal, if my math is correct, that will indeed be 10 key items, so his grind will be halved from that double XP that is gained from having 10 key items.
Yeah, that's very nice for Dustygriff. Right now, it seems like, he's going down some rabbit holes that aren't necessary. Oh, it's Golbez in the cannon room. No!
Oh, this is a low HP spot, but this is not... Oh,
yikes.
There's very few bosses in this spot that aren't trivial, and it's Golbez and Wyvern.
Oof. I mean, there's probably not the chance that he's gonna wipe here, but it's so much time, and right now he's got to feel like, I gotta go. I need to get something.
This is the Golbez fight. It's a nice time to set the controller down and take a sip of your drink and just relax for a moment, because you're gonna be here a while.
Yeah, Dustygriff just keeps getting trolled by the Seed. He ran into that ult gauntlet in the Baron Inn, followed by the Magus Sisters, and now he finds Golbez in the cannon room? Gross.
Well, one virus should do it. There's Golbez asking why.
Why? Ugh. And that's the one where Mecha's levels are not going to save him, so I got to expect after the grind is done, he's going to check the tower, because 3 for 1 is too tempting to pass up. So Mecha is going to run into that Golbez as well and take just as long on it.
Doesn't matter how strong your party is, Golbez is Golbez.
Yeah, he is going to have a fast Threemus, though, and Mecha is done with the grind now. We see Virus, we see Toad, we see Quake, Drain, Warp, Ice 3, Fire 3, Lit 3, Stone, Psych, Fatal, Weak, Meteor, and Nuke on the twins.
Do you think we're going to get a Meteor today?
I don't know, but Edward was alive at the end of that battle.
Oh, you're right. Well, with Cursed Ring, I think the anchoring still shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, he can always use Tele no matter what with the Cursed Ring, so Tele gaining levels isn't really a problem.
Yeah, it must be what his thoughts on that were. Just use Tella as the anchor and have Edward throw. If you get a decent bow, I mean, should have an Elven bow, find an Artemis bow, and some Artemis arrows. Edward can help with damage a little bit, so.
Whew, I got worried there for a minute because Mecha warped all the way to the second to last screen before he turned his encounters back off.
Ooh. Yeah, you must always turn those encounters off because, yeah, you don't want to have to do that grind again.
Hey everyone, package is another Edward.
Well, we're getting a check on the moon character, so we're gonna find out if maybe there's a white mage here.
And Dusty's showing us the Threemus flame is burning down the town of Mist, but he's not resetting yet, which shows me he actually wants to check the boss here. But we know it's Threemus. Threemus is not here. Threemus is at the top of the tower. So either Dusty wants this Edward. I can't imagine why though. Oh no, chat's saying he didn't save when he left the tower. Yikes.
Oh, no. Well, heads up on Dusty then to not reset there immediately. It's better to lose this little bit of time than to have to redo the tower. Looks like a sit on the moon.
Would have been nice to have him at the beginning.
Yeah, especially those ogre axes and earth hammer. It would have been nice to have a sit earlier, but not now.
And you can see just how much the seed is getting into the heads of our runners. Mecha has a 3-for-1 check at the tower and is instead going to the moon. He's saying, no, I have to do something weird. And now he's doing something weird.
Going for the long play. Mecha definitely must feel behind at this point.
Well, especially since we haven't seen the pass, the natural thing for Mecha to do would be to at least get objective 3. Well, there's no Luca key yet, so I guess it's this, that, or the other, but ideally you'd want to have the Murasame altar be your last objective so you can go straight to Zeromus while you're already on the moon.
Yeah, but like you said, without that Luca key, you're gonna be going back down underground anyway. So, feeding that dwarf castle until you have the Luca key, not a bad play by any means. Now, I expect we're going to be seeing a grind out of Dusty Griff very shortly.
Yeah, 10 key items with the Darkness Crystal and Tella in hand. It's a no-brainer. There's no reason to put it off at all.
Especially with the Slingshot character. Oh.
After finding elements here at the top of boss spot in the moon, this is going to go pretty quickly with these nukes. You see the quad 9s.
You love to see it. Doesn't even change to the Rubicamp. And the white shirt, that Tella, it's gonna help him out a little bit.
Yeah, Dusty heading back into Cave Eblin. I'm thinking to get some more Cure 3s. That's really all I can think of down here.
I don't remember where ethers were for sale, but they weren't here now. Oh, and some illusions. It's always good to have illusions, especially when you only have one form of blink. And there's a lot of bosses we've seen, like such as Pale Dim, Antlion, who can be really nasty at certain spots, that those illusions could definitely come in.
Looks like Mecha was just dipping the first boss while he was up there to get through the character cutscene. And I'm thinking be heading to that tower key now. Unfortunately, we know it's pretty much a bust.
I'm guessing he's following the age-old do your objectives. Goes to the moon, knocks out an objective, now probably going underground. I'm thinking it's going to be Dwarf Castle into the tower, hoping that he gets the Luca key out of that so he can just finish him up and go to Z.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is pretty smart. Dwarf Castle is going to be no problem. We need to search for a Luca key. We need either an adamant or a Luca key at this point, and nobody's seen it. Mecha hasn't seen the Legend Sword, so yeah, I'd say do your objectives, hope something else you need is there. It makes sense.
And let's see who Dusty picks up. I'm going to guess it's going to be another Powell.
Yeah, I mean, when you got Palm available, number one, he's very slingshotable. Number two, he's the ideal black mage. He gets nuke faster than any other black mage, and his HP growth is slightly, ever so slightly better than Rydia's.
And with the slingshot and the 10 key item, that Palm he just picked up, if I'm not mistaken, should actually end up being a higher level than the Palm he already has, because that Palm should not be getting a slingshot.
Yeah, I think you're right there. So that's it's still going to mean the ability to slingshot the low-level one still means that there's less D machines needed overall, but it's not going to be able to slingshot 2 like Mecha did.
So that means we may have a Palm with a fairly absurd amount of HP going to the ceramic fight.
Chad is mentioning that wouldn't it be just a thing if the only item needed still would be behind that Alt Gauntlet and Magus Sisters in the Baron Inn that's been sitting there the whole game?
I had completely forgotten about that fight. Oh, that would be something.
Yeah, and Mecha never even went in there. He doesn't even know it's the Alt Gauntlet.
It's not often that you don't see the Baron Inn get done by both runners, so that would be something.
We got a question in chat from Cactus Owl about what's a slingshot. So basically in this randomizer, there's a flag that we pretty much always have on. If you have a character if your party is full and you have a character who's 5 levels below the average party member level, they will get double experience, which you think wouldn't be that crazy because it's generally only going to last one battle. Well, when your grind fight, where you're getting all the experience you need for the rest of the game, happens to be an infinitely resummonable enemy, that's still one battle. So we use that in order to get a character from basically their base level all the way up to end game levels in just one fight.
Yeah, it can be very useful if you're going for a flex strat team. If you get 2 black mages later on in the game, you can slingshot them both. If you already have 10 key items, that can make for a very, very fast grind. Save you a lot of time.
And here we have Mecha gonna go do this Fruitless Tower. It's gonna have key items for him, but he doesn't really care about his key item count anymore. So yeah, this is just dustygriff's chance to catch up.
Fortunately for Mecha, we know that this is a complete bust. You get Threemus leads to a Protect Ring, which isn't a bad item, but it's not real.
Yeah, he's not going to waste quite as much time as Dusty just because, I mean, this Threemus is going to take like 2 or 3 nukes and be dead. But the Golbez still going to waste quite a bit.
Golbez will be the same speed.
And we can't forget that dustygriff is actually getting double the experience. So this fight is going to be literally half as long as Mecha's grind.
You find that Darkness Crystal later isn't necessarily a bad thing because of the 10 key items, getting that grind out faster. Overall, it might be a time save. I'm not sure because you are losing time fighting the bosses, the lower level party, but it's not tragic.
And there goes Threemus for Mecha. Not too shabby.
Chat bring up a good point. Golbez will actually take longer for Mecha if all of the party members are alive, as dustygriff only had 4 party members. Have that longer animation because in the Golbez fight, you summon Shadow, it will insta-kill party members until you have 2 alive. So if you only have 2, it doesn't do anything. If you have 5, it takes 3 if your member's down.
This is the point where I wish our runners had face cams on so you could see the look on their faces when they found this Golbez.
might be laughing ha ha ha. Although I think at this point these racers, like many racers, or probably every single racer in the Highway Threemus zone, is just in pure panic mode.
Yeah, every match is just them screaming "ah" the whole time.
It's always funny though, they seem so calm in the interviews.
They're playing it cool.
Yeah, unfortunately you cannot nuke the Golbez or hurt him before Golbez allows you to hurt him. The plot armor is very thick. The Steam Machine grind should be over pretty quickly for dustygriff. Having 10 key items shouldn't be too much of a grind here.
Yeah, it's really not going to take that many. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the last D Machine, actually.
Oh, getting a double life glitch on it too. It very well could be the last D Machine right there. And it is. There's the weak going out on the Searcher.
Yeah, that's snazzy.
Mecha now running down the tower to get the unfortunate news that this was not the play tonight. There's 52 levels on that slingshot of Palom. Definitely in nuke range.
Whew, you love to see it. 52 levels in one battle.
Going from 100 HP to a lot more than 100 HP in the blink of an eye.
Oh, and Dusty immediately turning the battles off. No nervousness here for me.
Yeah. There's always that moment of panic when you take a step and you get into the random battle, especially with these can't run flags on. It could be a problem.
Mecha's heading to Antlion Cave, so hashtag the dream of the Antlion Fade is no more.
But this doll boss here, no problem. One Quake, easy in, easy out. Won't be looting this cave. Definitely not a big time loss. And I'm expecting Mecha to chase that rat tail. Might turn into Pinktail. We might actually see what the Pinktail gives us.
Yeah, if you're going to be there chasing the rat tail anyways, then it definitely makes sense. But it's just unfortunate Dusty got it in the wrong order, so doesn't really have a reason to go back.
I'm going to guess it's a crystal sword.
Oh, that's too cruel. Once your party's already full. Cuddy in chat. Yeah, this is a tournament. It's the highway to the Threemus zone. We're at the table stage right now, and the runners basically just had to schedule all their matches within a certain amount of time. So, long story short, Dusty scheduled his schedule very front heavy, whereas Mecha's schedule is very back heavy. So this is actually Mecha's first round in this stage of the tournament. whereas this is Dusty's 5th match.
Dusty finding the sit on the moon. Not heartbroken about not having a party, I'm sure. Mecha's about to get the news that there's a package behind that rat tail. Oh, here's the pink tail. Oh, no, he fooled me.
Oh, what's it gonna be? Oh, just a Bahamut summon, and Rydia was available in multiple ways, but Mecha does not have her.
I think without seeing early Bahamut or Sylph or even Ashura, understandable they didn't take the Rydia.
So good to know Dusty's not missing out on anything special from that pink tail. He's going to go ahead and go up here after Objective 4 at the Murasame altar now.
Looks like Mecha is chasing that Earth Crystal. Going to go to the Tower of Zot. And I believe, if I remember correctly, I had the Legend Sword in it, so... Forging the Excalibur still definitely on the table.
Yeah, so we're just going to be looking for the Adamant or the Luca key. Neither one of them have been found yet, and we're running out of checks. Like, it's starting to be like, go back down to Feymarch and fight those bosses down there, or start cranking through moon bosses.
I think if I'm Dusty here, I'd probably stay with the moon. You're already here. That cutscene's long. You have the party. You have the Zeronis levels. Knock it out. Hope for Adamant.
Yeah, at this point, any checks that our runners have left to do are going to be lightning fast since they're both grinded. So at this point, it's honestly a coin toss. You know, if Dusty keeps checking the moon, then all of a sudden, if it pays off, Mecha's in trouble.
And we still have some fun bosses on the menu. There's still Wyvern lurking around. But I believe there's also still King, Queen, Eblon lurking. So I think there's still one free boss left. Mistaken. Nuking the Water Hag just for a little bit of swag. One might actually be able to defeat the Water Hag before the 3 attack script goes off.
Yeah, I think that's actually the plan. Well, nope, doesn't quite make it.
No Ghostbusters Anna today. I'm not sure if this is a crumble spot. It's not. I am going to guess that Dusty is going to do the ribbon room first to get the 2 key item checks rather than the 1.
Yeah, it's hard to pass up the ribbon room double dip.
It's Pale Dim. This should be a pretty simple fight for him. Just nuke it and say goodnight.
Yeah, his physical attacks hit hard, but since we're already grinded, like, the nukes are going to make short work of him.
And he does have those illusions if he feels he needs a little bit of safety here as well, but doesn't seem to need it. I'll throw out a couple safety blinks here, and this fight will be over in no time.
Yeah, and the crazy part is that Palom, the bottom Palom, actually can survive a fully powered, highest damage rolls Big Bang right now, which is, you rarely see that on Palom.
That's the power of the slingshot. Now this Pale Dim does still definitely hit hard, so as we saw Tella taking a nap right now. But it should be just about.
He's just tired. He's just tired.
He's done a lot of work for the sea, so. And on the left, Mecha just finishing off the Dark Elf. No problems there.
Strikeouts, Lunar Staff, and another Golden Apple. Doesn't even go save, heal, nothing. Going straight to the next boss room.
If there's a wipe here. It's not a big loss, so saving every second you can by not going to that save room.
Yeah, at this point, like with how different the paths have been and how much trouble some parts of the seed have been for each player, gosh, you really worry right now that your opponent is already in the Z fight.
Yes, especially at this level of play. I mean, an hour and 21 minutes into the seed is definitely not unheard of to have someone in the Z fight. I can appreciate Eddie trying to do some damage here.
Mecca not even checking Baron in, and instead going to Cave's Bahamut. We didn't see it from Dusty.
Oh, and then Ninja Shuriken. Dusty going to reset out of that. Thinking going to go down to the bottom altar there, the Mazamune altar, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, usually where Ogopogo is, and you can't exit from this part of the dungeon either. You have to go back up. This is in development. This was called the Threemus zone, which is where like our tournament name comes from. Ooh. But yeah, one boss down here. You can't exit because it's a dungeon within a dungeon. The game doesn't know where to put you, so they just kind of stop that. Oh no! It's vanilla. Oh no!
That's the second vanilla we've had this year. We had the vanilla Pan and now the vanilla Ogopogo. And a vanilla Bahamut.
What's going on here? This is so sus.
Is this a randomizer? Or is it, I'm not sure anymore.
Smatey, how'd you know vanilla's my favorite flavor?
The Bahamut fight shouldn't be too much of an issue. Put up a couple Star Veils and just hit him with all these wonderful nukes you have, and it should go down pretty quick. Ogopogo can be a little bit of a scary fight here. Those big waves do percent health damage, so and he hits pretty hard.
Cool. And just think, either one of these bosses could actually pay off. Oh, well, that's not going to pay off. You do have to actually have a wall up to stop the Mega Nuke.
I think Mecha just thought with the power of this party could defeat the Bahamut before the Mega Nuke went off. Unfortunately, just not quite enough damage to do it.
Yeah, time to ditch those Fire 3s with Tella and just start putting up random walls.
Ogopogo fight seems to be going pretty well for dustygriff. Edward's taking a nap, but no big loss on that one.
Down goes Ogopogo for dustygriff, and if this pays off, then it's gonna be Magma Key. No, everything is coming up bad for Dusty.
I'm beginning to really suspect that Baron Inn.
Baron Inn has been sitting there the whole game.
Oh, now if you're Dusty, are you in pure panic mode now?
Because here's the deal: we've been making the assumption that they just need one of two key items, so their chances are getting better and better as they get boss spots done. But we didn't discuss the other possibility that one of the required key items is behind the other one. We could have Luca Key at Baron Inn with the Adamant as the item at Sealed Cave.
And there's the Baron Key for Mecha.
Oof, do you go down and chase it, or do you stay here and chase the moon bosses?
That's a tough decision. I mean, the moon has a good amount of checks, and you're already here, and that cutscene going between the plans is pretty long. I can see it going either way, though. Those Baron checks are quicker overall.
Yeah, Baron has 2 checks, so, but it looks like, no, Mecha's not going to Earth.
We already know everything is haunted here on the moon, with Dusty doing the last check in the lunar subterrane.
No, Mecha! He can't hear us! He's wearing earpods!
This seed could have looked very different if the runners had done the... And it's a power shirt!
No! The moon is haunted! Bahamut was the only thing to pay off with a useful key item all the way. You gotta chase the Baron key. You gotta go.
And it's very possible that even Baron Inn has nothing. It's very possible that the Baron key is required.
Dusty checked every lunar subterrane boss and got nothing. And now Mecha's doing the same thing. If either one of these players had made this different choice and had gone to Baron Inn, or if Mecha had gotten Baron Key and went straight to Baron, it could have completely changed the outcome of the match. This is so much wasted time in the lunar subterrane for both players.
This is truly a Moon's Haunted seed. This subterrane is not worth the time. Cave Bahamut, it had value today.
Yeah, Baron Key could be haunted too, like you said. Baron Inn could be haunted. Baron Key could be haunted. Both things we need could be behind the bosses in the Fey March. And this is where Mecha's about to get disappointment after disappointment. Meanwhile, dustygriff at least is going to get this Baron Key and have really nowhere else to go.
dustygriff's going to have to make the choice. So I go Fey March? Do I go to the Baron Inn and the Baron Castle? I'm thinking probably going to Baron. 3 key item checks. I think that's probably where he goes.
Yeah, and at this point, it would suck for Dusty to have to sit through that alt gauntlet again, but at this point, you kind of have to turn over every stone.
At least at this point, he has Quake. The alt gauntlet will just be a Quake. 6 Quakes and done. The Magus Sisters throw another Quake out. Should be done. So the fights themselves shouldn't be difficult, but yeah, as you said, it is very slow. That gauntlet is just time consuming.
And the word spread of Palom the Kid.
Call him Quack Kid for a reason.
This would be the point. Imagine like the cool guitar and piano solo here for the Ballad of Billy the Kid by Billy Joel. Imagine it's like that and that I sing better.
I thought he sang pretty well myself. Mecha getting through the Pale Dam fight, only to find out the Ribbon Room holds no answers. Only questions.
The Ribbon Room feels particularly bad when you strike out, because you feel like, I have 2 chests here. Come on, give me something.
It's 2 chests, one of the harder boss spots. You get a lot of XP from it. You know, you feel good about finishing it. And then you get nothing.
Dusty's banking on the Fey March bosses.
What if Baron Inn holds all the in?
If the Luca key is a Baron Inn and Sealed Cave gives Adamant, it will be the most frustration of the century, because either one of these runners could have done it at any time, really, and neither one of them did.
Now, if they do find the Luca key, I don't think we'll be seeing what it holds, as the objective is only to unlock the cave. But it's a very real possibility. It could be Adamant behind Luca, and the Luca was required. Baron In was required, and both our runners decided not to check that today.
Yeah, and at this point, the fact that your opponent hasn't finished is making me wonder, you know that Baron In was sitting there, you faded it, or in the case of dustygriff, it's an alt gauntlet. So you have to wonder, maybe I'm not going there because I figure if my opponent did it, I already would have lost.
That is a good point. It's kind of like getting into the mindset, almost playing the mind of the opponent.
Now, Kanazo, usually very scary, deals HP-based damage, but unlike other enemies, it's based on his HP. But lightning spells can stop the wave from coming, and there's already been 2 nukes landed on him to lessen the amount of damage coming. So I think the lower HP characters might go down. Oh no, quite low now, so it looks like he'll be going into the shell very shortly.
Might skip the shell if these nukes are strong enough. Yep, skip the shell entirely. The power of the nuke.
As Ozcredwin said in the chat, Kanazo is weak to damage. Just a spoon there. That's another strikeout for Dusty.
If only that spoon flag were on. And we got Myron Z in the king spot.
Not too shabby. He really, out of all of the elements, he has the most simple attack script. He's just going to really just try to punch you. We have illusions. We have Tella who can blink. So really, it's just going to be throw these nukes and just power through till he goes down.
And if Mylon decides to hit Kane, I don't think Kane's going to be too bothered by it. So I think overall this fight should be pretty. If he hits the kids, however.
Mecha's running out of checks here on the moon, is about to be sent the same way as dustygriff here. The only question is Mecha going to do Baron In and Baron Castle first, or is he going to go to the Fey March bar since like Dusty is?
This race is going to come down to who checks the right spot. The paths are converging, and it all comes down to who finds that adamant or that Luca key first. Is the answer in Baron? The answer is in Baron.
Baron. It's either Baron Castle or that Baron In, and we got 2 checks in Baron Castle, so that's the play here, in my opinion.
Unless maybe you're thinking that Baron In's faster, and you just want to get one done quick, because there's 3 checks left that you can do. And 2 items. I mean, your odds are pretty high at getting something. Of course, the Twin Harp is still out in the wild, so that one of these is going to give the Twin Harp.
Mecha is absolutely flabbergasted that the moon has been completely haunted and took a few steps before realizing, oh heck, I gotta get Tele-Resurrecting and get the heck out of here.
I think at this point, both runners are assuming that the other runner is fighting Z right now.
Yeah, and they've had freedom to grind, so like they gotta know if somebody goes into Z, it would take some rather bad luck for them to wipe at this point.
Definitely. Especially with the very high level Palums.
Alas, Karate, we barely knew ye.
I thought he's supposed to be one of the good guys. The one thing that's always bothered me about this fight, he's a master of karate, and yet he swings a sword at you.
Listen, it was supposed to be a nunchuck, but the designers didn't have time to put nunchuck graphics in.
Alright, I'll give him that pass. I mean, the game's pretty well coded otherwise, so...
Mecha's checking D-Mist. Actually never did the check.
That is one scary thing about D-Mist. It's not a key item. It's usually not on your tracker. A lot of times it goes out of your mind after you defeat D-Mist. Afterthought. very easy to forget to go back and check it. Fortunately for Mecha, not a big loss in this case.
Who also going to Baron Castle and not going to waste the time at the Fey Marks that Dusty did, but now is funneled to the same path. So if Baron Castle pays off, Dusty Griff is going to get the payout first.
It's very possible that the castle holds the Twin Harp in the pass. And that Baron Inn, or the Twin Harp, holds the Adamant or the Luca Key.
All right, Dusty Griff has to wait. Oh, it's an edge. Too little, too late. Goodbye.
Remember all those edge weapons we found?
A little bit of a cutscene boss here before we get to the pot that has the item where the airship would normally be, since we already took the airship at the beginning of the game. And at this point, Mecha's just like 2 battles behind, and they're both going to be quick battles at that.
It's very, very possible we have both runners going to Z at about the same time. It's a little bit apart. The crystal ring!
No! The whammies keep on whammying. Smatey, you've cursed these runners. Those 2 curse rings at the beginning of the match were a sign.
And now, does the Odin spot hold the key, or is Baron Inn?
It would have been really spicy if Mecha had done the Odin spot before the throne.
Yes. It is actually quicker, because you don't have to go through that cutscene at the end feel, but it's not often seen.
Mylon and friends going to be eating some Quake and nukes here.
I feel like finding an edge late in the seed is always the biggest slap in the face.
Yeah, unfortunately, Wyvern is not Baron Inn. We do know it's Alt Gauntlet and Magus Sisters at Baron Inn. Wyvern required at Baron Inn would be the ultimate troll here for sure. Although we haven't seen Wyvern yet, so, you know.
It's very possible that we get the pass here in Odin. Could be the Twin Harp in the Inn, and the Twin Harp holds the Luca Key, and the Luca Key holds the Adamant. And Wyvern could be in one of those spots. But nope, the Luca Key is in the Odin spot, and in 1 hour, 38 minutes, Dusty Griff is in go mode.
All right, now it's just a breakneck race to the end. Mecha will be checking that Odin throne next and finding it, and both of our players are going to be going as fast as they can. No pass in sight. It's buried in somewhere that we haven't checked yet, and they're going to have to go all the way down the lunar subterranean again. So that pass was either at the Luca Key or behind Twin Harp at Baron Inn.
Now, fortunately, they only have to unlock the cave. They do not have to do the cave. It does save quite a bit of time. The pass is not in the spoiler, but there's only 3 checks left, so by process of elimination, we should be able to figure out where it was.
Woof. This is now Dusty Griff's match to lose. Any wipe on Threemus will allow Mecha to be right on Dusty's heels.
I'd like to know if the admin is behind that Baron Inn.
Oh, if it was, that would be delicious. We will have to look at the spoiler log for sure, because if it's been sitting there the whole time and Dusty Griff just barely didn't get it way back then, that would be... I mean, even if Dusty Griff were to win, you'd still be shaking your head that you could have got done so much faster.
It is a long check, so I mean, it's definitely not a bad play to fade that, especially with the alt gauntlet. It is very time consuming, but yeah, it's just if you could have had that go mode just that much earlier, it definitely stings a little.
Here goes dustygriff walking down the lunar subterrane. Meanwhile, Mecha is getting the heck out of here, has to go unlock Luca first. Will this be dustygriff's 5th victory in the table round? Reminder, we're playing 6 rounds per player, so if Dusty comes out of this 5-0, that's an incredibly strong record.
Yeah, I do believe a win here should clinch him moving on to the round of 16. I can't imagine a world where 5-1 leads to tiebreaker play, but you never know.
I think mathematically it's impossible because somebody has to lose those matches, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if like half the table went 5-1, the other table half went 1-5, but that already has been disproven, so I don't think that can be a possibility.
Yeah, there is the fight for the top 4, though, which is kind of really, really valuable because it lets you pick your future opponents.
Yeah, definitely want to get in that top 4 if at all possible. Although any racer on any day can win a race, so very strong competition in this table of 32.
Now let's see, is dustygriff going to take the time to save here at the bottom, or is he trying to scrap every last second? If I'm Dusty here, I'm very worried that Mecha is in the Threemus fight as we speak.
Was the party this powerful? Yeah, don't save.
That's it.
We're getting some flags here in the chat.
Well, with Dusty in the Zenith zone, that means we're approaching the final boss of Threemus. So with the randomized sprite comes a question we like to ask. Would you like to let chat know what that is, Damashi?
I would love to. Whose butt are we kicking tonight? If I'm not mistaken, there's over 450 sprites in the pool now.
That's correct. They are put in there. Scala Kitty's done quite a number of them, pulled from various sources or made from scratch in some cases. But at any rate, we do have one last surprise from every seed. We get a new Threemus, not new, but maybe new to you every time. So once the crystal's thrown, that will be revealed.
Any particular sprite you'd like to see?
I'm a big fan of kind of the joke sprites, so the ones that are like dialogue boxes or like not an enemy from a different game, but just like things that are jokes that have been put in.
Yeah, the joke sprites are always a fun thing to see. I think one of the first ones I ever saw was I think it was Wario. I really enjoyed that one.
You know, I don't know if it exists, but I would like to see. There's a game that speedrunner I watch plays where there's a very infamous line that says, "It's a joke." And I'd like to see that text box at some point in here, but instead, the true form's revealed. We get Shadowmus. This is Shadow Peach.
Well, it's definitely a scary enemy. You don't want to get on any Peach's bad side.
I gotta love that collar. Looks great.
Oh, she's definitely styling. Now, while this fight should be pretty good for Dusty, this fight can always go poorly. You get a couple high rolls on big bangs, but Dusty's party is set up very well to handle this fight. Shouldn't have many issues.
Yeah, the only problem here would be if a high roll took out the whole party, it would take out everybody except Kane and the bottom Palom. And if things went a little sideways from there, it could get away from Dusty. But from the level of play we've seen from these players, I'm thinking both of them have the Z fight maxed out exactly.
I believe he did get that Silk Web off to reduce the damage of the first big bang. There shouldn't be any problems. I don't think we see a second Big Bang party. Now Mecha is making his way down, about to get in the Z fight himself.
Yeah, we went over this a little earlier, but with Reflect Strats, Threemus' HP is essentially cut in half because he never gets to use the counter that refills his HP halfway. So this fight is actually very fast. So although dustygriff has only been here for like 2 minutes, it's almost over already. Meanwhile, Mecha is going to be in the fight. Anytime you can be in the Threemus fight at the same time as your opponent, that's a match well fought.
Definitely a very good showing by both racers, and a very close race here we've had tonight.
And we've seen pretty much every Big Bang nerfed for Dusty, so that means that Threemus' spell power can get reset if you deliberately activate a counterattack from him. And that's how Tella is still alive, even with 1100 HP right now.
Yeah, it's not often you see Tella still standing after the first Big Bang, let alone two. This is probably the last nuke, I'm gonna guess.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I think this could be the last one. Nope, not quite.
Even with quad 9s, wow. It looks like Mecha is also setting up Reflect Strats going in. There's the flash.
GG's dustygriff with his 5th table flag win with a time of 1 hour 48 minutes and 10 seconds. Really, really good play. It wasn't a smooth seed by any means for either player, but this is just great for Dusty at this point.
Every win feels good. Going 5-0 has to feel amazing, especially with such good competition in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, if any point Dusty had wiped to anything extra, I mean, Mecha is right there on his tail. And speaking of Dusty, he's joining us in the commentary booth here. GG's, Dusty.
Hey, GG's, thank you.
So we haven't got a look at your spoiler log yet, but considering how few locations were remaining, we are very strongly considering that something you all needed was actually at that Baron Inn that you abandoned.
I was really, really counting on either A, having nothing, and hopefully Mecha went for it, and that it had nothing, or B, that he went for it and also had a similar thing to me where he wiped or something, but because that was such a large time loss that it felt bad for the whole rest of the season. I felt like I played pretty good everything else other than the accidental package clip over Miss Village, but other than that I felt pretty decent about it. But yeah, I wasn't paying attention to the spoiler log after I finished up, so I'll have to go back and look at that.
How did you feel after diving the lunar subterrane and finding that there was nothing?
felt like a normal day in the LST. for whatever reason, you know, that's just how it goes sometimes. I felt like my LST clear, I think, was pretty decent. With the setup that I had, it was really easy to just get through bosses and cut through them quickly. So checking everything didn't take too long, but still doesn't mean it feels very good when you check all those spots and come up with ninja stars and a lunar staff. So yeah, pretty bad.
You know, I think the seed came down to you did a few key item checks that Mecha did not do, which would appear to have cost you time at first, but it did let you get 10 key items for your grind, which Mecha did not have. And he's actually finished now. So only 2 minutes behind you. So consider that's half the grind right there. So I think that actually you came out ahead there. Was it a strategy of yours to not grind until you had 10, or is that just how it sort of ended up?
I was kind of assuming that's how things were going to go, because once you might see when I turned in the pan, I think I got tower key from Yang. So instead of going straight back to Sheila and turning that in, I knew there was tower key turn in, top of tower, mist. I knew Mist Dragon was up there, so I was like, there's so many chances for key items here. I was like, regardless of what item Sheila would give me right now, even though it's the fastest thing, I need to just go clear all these because it can get me to 10 pretty easily, which worked out pretty nicely.
We saw the Twin Harp was behind the Luca cave, so either that adamant was at the Baron Inn, or it was sitting there behind Twin Harp that you all never would have seen.
Yeah, how different this could have felt, I guess, had I not wiped my own party, basically, because I virused Eddie at the Baron Inn fight. But I'm still pretty happy with how I played the latter half of the seed, and even everything other than that Baron Inn wipe was okay. But what a very trolly setup.
Well, Dusty, we can't let you go without mentioning you've now gone 5-0 in the table round. I mean, you got one match left. Clean sweep feeling within your grasp at this point.
I mean, you never know. I think I've been pretty lucky up to this point. I think my play has been okay. Some races, like this one in particular, and another race that I had, I really feel like I had really bad moments, but also really good moments, and they kind of worked out to just a sort of average play. But I'm hoping to tighten that up a little bit moving forward. But all things told, it's worked out. Obviously, up to this point, moving on 5-0, but you know, fingers crossed to keep it going, and hopefully see what happens from here.
Very cool. Well, thank you for coming on the restream tonight. Mathematically, it seems you're definitely going to be in the round of 16 now, so good luck going forward on that and your final table match before that happens. Anything else you want to say tonight before we let you go and get to Mecha?
Thank you all for restreaming and commentating and tracking this. Appreciate that very much. And GG's to Mecha on this one. Really close and really great race.
And just before you hop off, we did just see that Adamant was at that Baron Inn.
Oh, God.
Oh,
wow. What a difference, right?
Yeah, and I guess that just means luck was on your side, because Mecha never even checked Baron and never even knew it was the alt gauntlet. So it's just dumb luck that he didn't go and get that adamant at any time.
Absolutely. I might lose some sleep over that tonight, but it's all right. All right, thank you, folks. Thank you very much, and appreciate it. And yeah, see y'all.
And I believe we are now joined by Mecha. Mecha, GG on the race.
GG's. The disrespect. As if I hadn't checked Baron in the first thing I did.
Oof. Yeah, it was strikeout after strikeout, not just for you, but for dustygriff too. But wow, 2 minutes separated you, and it basically just came down to when you got your key items. He happened
I don't think that was it at all. Like, I heard what you said about 10 key items. I died 4 times to that D-Lunars fight, missing wins by like single to double digit HP.
Well, okay.
I lost that Bahamut fight by like 100 HP, like, right? Like in the first try, right? Like there were so many places where I was really close and I could have made 2 minutes back. Like going early on hook, right? Like was fantastic. Right, like then it was all bound freebies, right? Like I get that like the key item thing made his grind faster, but you didn't need a faster grind.
Yeah, and I
Really
mean,
didn't.
to be honest, going down the hook early, like both us and the chat were thinking like, this is a crazy awesome play. Like really, it was a really good move, and we thought it was going to pay off big for you.
I mean, it did pay off big, right? Like, I mean, I didn't win the race, but I'm dead certain that that I was in incredibly good position. I just gave back that time over the course of the race. And then, yeah, like it was a close race. I mean, I'm sure it was entertaining to watch, and I'm glad that people saw that kind of early hook. And yeah, but yeah, that was close, and I like a lot of what I did. I still have to think about the numbers on some of the plays, but on the overall, I'm pretty happy with my sort of decisions on the overall. But yeah, no, all of like those decisions were very calculated for the most part. And just table flags are tight. Dusty's good.
Yeah, you ended up getting basically all of the knowledge of the seed way quicker than Dusty, and it just turned out both of you faded Baron in. He tried it and failed, and you kind of faded it completely. It happened to have the other half of objective one.
Baron in was actually next if Orden didn't pay off, because I had double Quake and it was right there. Where like I was just going to tear through Gauntlet, 5 Quakes and we're done. But like that was next after Odin. Just because I had assumed that Dusty had cleared it early. That is very on brand for Dusty. The fact that he ended up skipping it is surprising, and I mean, it saved me, certainly, that given that. But
Yeah, he didn't actually skip it. He tried it.
And it and failed. No, he
yeah.
didn't.
Yeah. Old Gauntlet with Magus Sisters hiding behind it.
No, that's a fun one. But yeah, just I really liked what I did. I did Fabul because that's where the XP was. I just needed the bare amount of XP to get Tella functional. With Kane, Valvalus wasn't going to be in the way. That's one of the things that becomes a major time waste blocker on our deals. Right, like it just I lined up everything for like those really, all that stuff, and then I just gave all the time back.
With the party that was available to you, I mean, those early game checks are always going to be difficult. They didn't have the Sid or someone to just kind of go through, so it's fortunately those D-Lunars just rando.
Yeah, I mean, we had the tools to beat it, but the first 2 times Edward died first hit. The third time, right, like I tried getting fires going, and the fires were just too much. I finally ended up doing the slower reflex strats kill, but yeah, some of those were very close.
Yeah, before we let you go, I did want to let you get out of here before complimenting the double slingshot. That was a very heads up, and I realized that you did that very deliberately. You kept 2 party members open just so that you could do that.
Right. I mean, and right again, right, like when everything was down the freebie path, right, like I didn't have to take any fights, right, like I just had to get through those 2 stoneable bosses, and then I didn't take any fights until the grind fight, right, like I just legitimately just didn't take any fights, and so that made it easy to take double Palom at the end, and yeah, and then yeah, double slingshot, easy enough. That said, like the 2 Paloms were painful in that D Machine fight. Just unable to do almost any of the job in a D Machine fight. But then my Kane had the weirdest timing, like in the D Machine fight too. Like just didn't take turns. Like like Tella got 2 turns before Kane got a turn at one point in that fight. Like it was the weirdest timing on Kane I had seen in a while.
Chat did point that out at the time, and they were wondering if you still had a curse ring on that Kane, but I didn't see it later, so I'm not sure.
Curse ring wasn't on Kane at that point. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, that again, right? Like there was, I lost by a minute 30, and right, like nonsense like that just drained away my extra time.
Well, thanks again for coming on. Damashi, you got any more questions for Mecha before we let him go and get on to the next race?
No, I think, overall, definitely played a great race. Looking forward. That is your first race of the tournament. So, how are you feeling about the next races you have coming up here?
I mean, I have an above average difficulty schedule, so I'm just hoping that 3 and 3 is enough with strength of schedule. I was really hoping to pick up one of my tougher battles, Dusty being one of those, and so still have a couple of stone killers in the way to try and get at least 3 wins out of this thing. Yeah, I've had to schedule them all from like today to the end of the thing because of various issues. So I've got 5 more races in 10 more days.
Oof. It's a lot of free enterprise in your future.
It is.
Well, thank you again. Thank you for giving us the music as well. Fan favorite there.
Yep.
While we're on our way out.
Yep. I just hope. I know this was a good race as much as I didn't win. Right. Like I just hope that they can all at least be as good a race. Like if I can manage to put together 5 more good races. Right. Like that's pretty good in and of itself.
Absolutely agree.
All right. I think we're going off to someone else. I'll let you two handle that, and I will get back to other things.
Cool beans. And you heard it. We do have more free enterprise for you. Once again, this restream was brought to you by Smapty, Tracker Isalba, my co-commentator Damashi, who, believe it or not, with the slick performance you might not know, was the first night on commentary.
Yes, well, thank you very much for co-commentating with Motas. It was a pleasure working with you. And what a great race to kick off the night.
I agree. Definitely really exciting. Now, normally this would be the point where we would send you all to one of our other races since we were the first one of the night. But instead, we're going to just tell you to stay right here because Silverfire versus Aizen Tayama is about to start on this very channel. It's going to go down to change the stream title, and then we'll be right back up for you to keep watching.
Stick around. You won't want to miss it.